Welcome to Gen X TrustFall, the podcast dedicated to planned and unplanned midlife changes and the ability to trust in the unknown. I'm Carla Loomis. In today's episode, Chico Girl Amy and I chat about our Gen X Hollywood crushes that include Shaun Cassidy, Jimmy McNichol, and of course, Matt Dillon. Next, in the first of a two-part interview, I talk with Hollister's own Kirk Ward. Kirk describes his journey from Teatro Campesino in San Juan Bautista to Hollywood actor, screenwriter, and producer. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoy. Amy, I want you to look at that face right there on that record album.
I see him. I do not find him cute. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Look at his little half smile on half of his mouth. He was so cute.
Part of the problem.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Shaun Cassidy.
Carla's love.
He is wearing all white and he's got the perfect feathered hair.
It is the perfect feathered hair. It is.
Really is.
He did it. And that is a nice outfit with the two black stripes on the chest area.
Yeah. I think he's got a sweater. Oh yeah. It's like a little, That was my first love.
How are you feeling while looking at your first love again?
He's almost feminine looking, so I'm wondering what my sexuality was in fourth grade.
I agree. I'm so happy to hear you say that because I always thought he was not a handsome guy at all.
No.
Maybe a pretty boy.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
Adorable.
And you had his album.
I had the album. Actually, I did not have the album. I found this at the Salvation Army for $2. And I had to buy it.
You bought an album cover without an album in it for $2?
No, there's an album. There's a record in there.
Oh.
Yeah, but I found it at the Goodwill like 3 years ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I don't know if I had this one. I had the other one, Did You Run Run? I had that one.
Great song. Terrific song.
I know.
Like, wow. And, Carla, I thought you were saying that you found that at Goodwill when you were like 7 years or 8 years old for $2. I'm like, without a record for $2, you were really a rich girl.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. I did buy a Teen Beat picture of him off my friend, though, that she ripped out of a Teen Beat for 10 cents. And I thought I was spending a fortune. I thought I was getting ripped off, but I was willing to go 10 cents for a picture of Shaun Cassidy. It was the first picture I put up in my room.
Were there negotiations? Or did you start at 10 cents?
She started at 10 cents. She drove a hard bargain.
Okay.
She was pretty good. We weren't really good friends. She was a friend enough to swindle me out of 10 cents.
What a good friend.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I think she made some good money. I don't know what Teen Beat cost, but
I know.
Was it 25?
Probably. She probably sold like a David Cassidy picture, a Scott Baio picture.
Oh yeah, I would have bought Scott Baio.
Yeah.
I would not have bought David.
No, I wasn't a David Cassidy fan.
I mean, he's cuter than Shaun, I hate to tell you.
No.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely not. I'll go to the mat with that one. I don't know if that's a saying.
Let's go to the mat. Let's make it a saying.
All right. So that was my first love, fourth grade. I vividly remember buying that picture from her at school. And then the summer before fifth grade, my mom bought me a T-shirt with his face on it. And that was a big deal.
Wait, I think I know that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Listen, Laura Ingalls. The more I get to know you, Carla. So Laura Ingalls and Shaun Cassidy.
Well, I'd outgrown Laura by that point. I got boobs in fifth grade.
Well, boobs and all, I was going to say, I think we can safely categorize you as a dork.
Yes, I agree. And I had the Dorothy Hamill haircut. So we got it all. Boobs, boy, who knew what I was? But who was your first Hollywood crush?
Well, first I want you to know that we're going to have to get our rival Dorothy Hamill pictures out because I too had that haircut.
Okay.
And my mother made me buy white Pumas because she thought they would look like ice skates.
No.
Yes. And I did it begrudgingly, but I didn't tell her. And then my friends were like, Puma, those are white Pumas?
Like they weren't cool then.
No, we could safely say I was a dork as well. Just so you know. And on that dorkiness, I loved Jimmy McNichol.
Okay.
Okay. And I need to tell you about his movie, Champions: A Love Story.
I'm sure it was fabulous.
Me and Jim watched that tonight. I'm going to pull that up. It was a TV movie in which he was a hockey player turned ice skater to be in pairs ice skating.
Yes.
And I just thought, wow, he's hot. And sadly, at the end of the movie, he died.
Oh.
Yeah. And that made me love him more because I have always been a girl who likes hard to get.
And dead is really hard to get.
There's pretty rough.
There's no one harder to get than a dead person.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I don't think he's much cooler than Shaun. I just think he is cooler than Shaun.
Well,
I think you chose the dorkiest of dorks.
I mean, I'm okay with that. There was no stopping my love for Shaun Cassidy, so I have to be okay with it. I just do. Yeah. I remember Jimmy McNichol, and I think he was a good dancer. He had really long legs, right?
Wait, yes. And I do think maybe him and Christy did some disco dancing, huh?
I think they did. And I did have kind of a crush on Christy McNichol as well. I don't think I knew the difference between having a crush on a girl or a boy. I loved her because she was a badass, and Matt Dillon got together with her on screen.
And Little Darlings.
Yes. And so I thought you can be kind of boyish and also get the cutest fucking guy ever.
Right. No, I loved her too.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was on a TV show called Family. Did you ever watch it?
I think I had to go to bed before that. I think it was on late.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I got to watch it, and she was a tomboy on that show too.
Yeah.
And I feel like her name was Buddy or something like that.
I think you're right.
Right?
Yes.
Buddy and Willie was her brother.
Yeah.
And I think she had a pretty sister who I think was Meredith Baxter Burney, but I'm not.
God,
is
you
that
have
right?
Such a memory.
No,
I think so.
I think that's right. And so anyway, I loved her too. Now you went from dork to like super cool if you're loving Matt Dillon. I get to choose who's cool and who's not, apparently.
I was going to say, wait a second.
Who are you, Amy?
Have you seen something about Mary? Because he is not cool in that. But
no, he was hot.
Oh my gosh.
Hot. I loved him.
He was a bad, bad boy.
And yes.
Loved him.
Yes, he was a bad boy. I need to set a foundation here that I was probably a dorkier girl than you. So I don't know why I'm judging cool now. But I was such a dork.
Well,
in my white Pumas and my Dorothy.
But you were pretending to ice skate in them. So
I hope I wasn't, Carla. Like that
your mom
scares
was
me.
Pretending that you were ice skating.
Oh my God. Yes. I actually kind of forgot that story until you mentioned your Dorothy Hamill. Might have to get mad at my mom. Anyhow,
we can agree on Matt Dillon because
yes, we can.
Okay, we talked about this a little bit. You found the movie that he was in that made me fall super hard because it was.
Was it Rumblefish?
No.
What was it again?
No,
I did find it.
It was a movie about some kids gone bad. And they were kind of running around the town on their bikes, maybe their mini bikes. And I don't remember a lot. I was just drooling over him probably, but he had a gun in one scene. He had a gun and then I don't know if he got shot. I think he died in that movie. It was like, you told me it yesterday.
I know.
The other day you found
like,
it.
This is the problem with age. We just looked it up yesterday, and I can't.
I know.
It's not Rumblefish.
No. This was way before. It might have been his first movie or something.
Not Drugstore Cowboy.
No.
Yeah, we're way past that. Okay.
No, it wasn't even Little Darlings. It was before that. He just was a boy gone wrong, and holy moly, it set the mold for me. Like, I needed all the bad boys after that. No.
Me too. No, I loved him. So I loved him. And then I'm now thinking about Scott Baio because didn't Chachi... Didn't he do that?
I think he did. I think he did.
What I've done is 2 snaps while having a hand in a... What is this?
It's a scoot by. I don't know, like
a hand in a fist and you scoot by.
It's kind of,
Because I loved Chachi to the point where I loved the TV show Joni Loves Chachi.
Agree.
You watched that show?
I did. Yeah. Just for him.
Yeah.
And they weren't a good match.
No.
He was too cute for her.
He was too cute, but he was adorable.
But now it turns out he's a douche.
Yeah. Well, this is why they're teen idols. And we leave them behind.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because no, not now.
Yeah.
And then how about Ralph Macchio or Macchio?
Who?
Well, maybe I'm saying his name wrong. What's the Karate Kid?
Oh,
I loved him.
he was okay. He was mid. He was mid for me. He was not no, Matt Dillon, probably the top. I had a whole wall of Teen Beat pictures that I cut out.
Well, yeah, I had a wall of Charlie's Angels, which again,
that's right.
That was that's really uncool. Speaking of dork and problematic.
Yeah.
Well, not problematic, but whatever.
No.
But my grandma, I had a subscription to Teen Beat.
Okay.
And so I did
Wow.
I know. Spoiled.
Oh my
Spoiled girl.
gosh.
And so I made a teen idol scrapbook.
Okay.
I will have to get that down for you.
Yes.
But Jimmy McNichol's the star.
Yeah.
Leif Garrett's in there.
Not a fan of Leif Garrett.
What?
He was too white for me. That's probably not very appropriate. I like darker. I liked the darker guys. I was not a blonde. I wasn't a fan of blondes, really. I mean, I guess Shaun Cassidy.
Cassidy
I know.
is the whitest of white. Sorry, Shaun Cassidy. Is that bad? It's not bad to be the whitest of white, but
no.
You're kind of confusing me.
I know. I loved Shaun, but I did not like Leif Garrett. Something about him. I don't know.
How did you feel about Willie Ames?
No.
He's adorable.
No, not a fan.
Okay,
no.
hold.
Nope.
Scott Mayo, Ralph Macchio. Who else?
Yeah, he was okay. Gosh, I wish I could really remember.
Okay, wasn't Rob Lowe one of ours?
Rob Lowe. That was later, though. Rob Lowe came along just like high school.
Maybe a little before if you were getting Teen Beat. I think we needed to get you a subscription to Teen Beat.
I didn't.
He had a TV show on a series that I think, I mean, look, I'm going to have to look all this up, but I think he had a series, on like before anything else. And he was, I mean, listen, I love Rob Lowe to this day.
I do like Rob Lowe. Agree.
Now, I do think he was so good looking.
He was.
It was overwhelming.
Agree.
That's what happens when you're that good looking. Carla and I know we also have that level of I don't know what happens when you're that good looking, but he had it.
I agree, but I don't remember him when I was young. I don't remember him on my wall. You know who I loved?
Who?
And I stared at from his album? Michael Jackson.
I love I did too. Off the Wall. He was adorable.
I was in love with him and just stared at that cute little face that I couldn't recognize later, but he was so damn cute.
Adorable, talented.
Yes.
And who didn't like the song? Is it called She's Out of My Life?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, that whole thing. The whole album, Off the Wall. Loved it.
Yeah.
And I stared at him a lot. I might have pinned the album onto my wall. I'm not sure. But you know who else I loved?
Who else?
Rocky.
Oh, yes. He was, he
was too old for me. Way too old. Like, could have been my dad, probably.
Right.
But sexy. That, to me, that horrible accent, illegible.
Is it an accent?
Not understandable, whatever. Like, bring it on. I had a poster of him on my wall, too.
Yeah, I liked him. And that brings me to someone else that I've always loved. Up Your Nose with a Rubber Hose. We're talking John Travolta. Welcome Back, Kotter. And that damn movie phenomenon. I love that movie. And also, I love the movie Pulp Fiction.
Agree.
So,
Agree.
Like, he was on my wall for sure. I loved Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah. Well, Grease, that was the ultimate. Grease was my, Grease was my life for a long time. We made up dances in my basement. We put on shows over and over and over to 4 different songs. We invited our parents over to watch these horrible dance
Right. I loved
extravaganzas in the basement. And then we needed an intermission because we had to change costume between we only had the A track. We had the A track, and so there was a song in between 2 of our main, productions, our main dances. And so we got my Welcome Back, Kotter poster of Vinnie Barbarino, and we taped it onto my brother. So,
wait, was your brother Danny and you were Sandy?
No, it was me and my best friend at the time. We would do the dances, but we needed an intermission while the song played.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And got through, I think it was Blue Moon, when John Travolta sings Blue Moon in Grease. And that was a middle song. And so we taped John Travolta onto my brother.
Which brother?
I don't remember. Probably Nick. Nobody else would do it. And then he had to go out and like sway taped up in a poster he couldn't see.
No, that was ingenious, really.
He couldn't see anything. He just had a poster taped.
I mean, I
taped around himself.
I hope you won Best Costume Design.
I can't believe we did that, but he had to sway back and forth. Thankfully, Blue Moon is a very mild, slow song.
Right.
And he just swayed for about three and a half minutes.
How entertaining.
Well, we changed costumes.
That sounds like a really...
My poor mom. No wonder. No wonder. It's not... It's making her sit through those... I mean, oh my... I think we even charged a nickel for them to watch it.
Well, that's a deal for all that costume design that went into it. And I'm sure the dance routines were fabulous.
I mean, we had 4 square feet of room to dance in.
God, that is so cute.
It's not cute.
No, it is.
Crazy. It's insane.
It's what kids do. It's time for Grease.
Oh my gosh.
And Nick, put your poster on your head.
Come here and let me wrap you up.
And just sway.
Stick your arms out of the sides.
Just sway. It'll be perfect.
For 3 minutes long. Don't stop.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God. Those were my main crushes.
Yeah, I feel like there's someone on the tip of my tongue, and I really am not going to get it. And so what I want to say is, if I'm on this again, I will have to bring back one more, because I feel like there's someone big that we're missing.
I know. I agree. I think we're going to be like, oh my God, he was the biggest star of all. And
right.
Yeah.
This is why I made a scrapbook. I knew someday I'd forget.
Yeah.
And so I have to go back to all the boys I loved.
I think that's a good idea. Just send me some pictures.
We'll be happy to.
Okay.
Thanks, Carla.
Okay.
I wrote this for you. Ready? And it's Gen X. Wait, that's horrible. Gen X TrustFall. Carla.
Ooh, that was so good. No one's written a song. I took Ryan's song already, but yours is the second best song that I have.
Yeah, until you hear it both out of tune and out of key.
Well, I can AI it, you know?
Yeah, you can do. Yes, exactly. Someone's
Thank
gonna go,
you.
Oh, how did you get Sting?
I know.
Sing
I know. I'm just lucky that way.
How are you today, Carla?
I'm good. Welcome. Thank you for doing this. Will you introduce yourself so that people know who you are?
My name's Kirk Ward. Well, I was born in Nampa, Idaho, and moved to Hollister when I was 9 months old and lived there till I was 18. I love everything about Hollister, and I have to say, Carla, I didn't know you were doing this, and your brother casually one day says, "Oh yeah, on Carla's podcast," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm being totally sincere, and I've communicated this to you and your brother, and I just want to say, like, I'm so impressed with what you're doing, and the people that I've turned it on to are like, "Oh my gosh, she's such a natural." Like, I love going on my morning walks, and you know, you're inquisitive beyond Hollister, but I love that it's homegrown, and you know, I can hear people like Annie Markham on there. I applaud you. I applaud you, Carla Loomis.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You've always been supportive of my kids, and yeah, it's been fun. It's still a hobby. I have not received a dime yet, but it's a fun hobby, and I don't have hobbies. So my hobbies have always been work and, you know, complaining about my family. So this, I get to do it publicly, and it's fun, and I can, make jokes about it, but it is fun. I'm really loving it.
Here's the thing. It's a great hobby. And that word is very interesting to my age because someone said that to me at a dinner party one night. And they're like, hey, when your kids leave home, what's your hobby? And I was like,
Yeah.
Hobby? I've never thought about having a hobby.
Yeah.
Being honest. I took a DJ class. And I was like, I want to learn how to DJ a little bit. That's not really a hobby. I'm just a cool DJ guy.
Exactly. And you might get paid. Like there's always
right.
I don't have hobbies. I walk on the treadmill. I love the
hobby.
Real Housewives of every place. I love them. Just, I don't have hobbies. So, this has been super fun, and I have met just the most incredible people. I'm in awe of them. They're so brave and so incredible. So that's the fun part for me, because it used to be I got that from teaching. I got that personal,
one-on-one,
intimate relationship, which sounds weird and creepy, but it's not, with my students, that they told me stuff that they wouldn't tell other people. And so I kind of stopped getting that at school. It stopped being a fun thing for me. So this is super fun.
Well, again, I applaud you, and it's really amazing. And my wife was a school teacher for 7 years before she was a therapist. And I remember when she would come home, be in the best mood because she had a conversation with a student and the student got it, whatever it was, and got the concept. She watched that people grow. And I mean, I've mentored people a little bit here and there, but I've never been a teacher. I've never really had a real job. Let's face it.
Well, let's talk about that. That's a great segue. So I've known you since you were little. I grew up with your sister, your brother. We could do probably a whole series on your family and my family and all that. But talk about your career, your whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I was the youngest of five in a single home. My mom raised five of us, and she had a daycare for 33 years in our little tiny house on Central Avenue. There was between 9 and 12 children in our house every day, and then five of us. So for a portion of my life, my mom slept on the couch.
Wow.
We did not have a lot of room nor a lot of money, but my mom always made it appear that we did, and created an incredible home for us. Very chaotic. And as the youngest of five, I feel like the advantage I had is I was always looking up. I was like, oldest brother made that mistake. I'm not going to do that. The oldest sister got in trouble for doing this. Okay, the middle sister just got busted when she came home smelling like beer. And then I remember my brother Kip one day. Kip was always the kind of the alpha of the family and like the cool, calm, and collected one. And and he always had the wisdom. And I remember one day, let's just say I came home and my eyes were red. And I was just shoving food in my mouth at the refrigerator. and he like pulls me into the bedroom and he's all, dude, I know what's going on.
Right.
And I stole this book from Mom, and she highlighted the areas. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he showed me this book. I'll never forget. You can still find this book. It's called Parents, Peers, and Pot. My brother took it from her. It was like, when your child comes home and is craving sugar, like my brother's so logical compared to like me. Like he's like, so look, this is the rule book. Do the opposite. Right. And so I remember.
If you don't want to get caught, you ding dong.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go down to Wapples and buy Visine. Right. Oh, hi, Ray. Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
I had a bag of beef jerky, some Skittles, and a 4-pack of Visine.
And I need to eat it before I get home.
So, that was trial and error. I learned definitely by trial and error. And that was the advantage I had in my position as the youngest of 5. I don't think, if my brother didn't play sports, I don't know if I would have.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I liked sports, but he was so into sports and I idolized him so much that it just became like a thing. We totally enjoyed playing football, but graduated from 8th grade, and I remember thinking, oh, there's this thing called high school I'm going into. And Mario Casarino, I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I do.
He came over to my house, and he looked like he stepped off of that famous Keep on Truckin' poster with those guys, super long legs. Like he's like 6'9", right? He looks like Magnum PI, and he ducks under my doorway and comes into the living room and he's like, I'm moving you up to play JV football next year. And I think based on the fact that my last name was Ward and I was Kip. And then cut to 3 months later and, Dave Willett, Rudy Reyes.
Oh my gosh.
Glenn Koch, Craig Parsons. They're just destroying me on the, like I talk about the double days of coming out of 8th grade and then going to double days with the varsity because it was a traumatizing moment in my life where I'm like, it's akin to like somebody driving a Toyota Corolla and bumping you at 20 miles an hour getting hit by these guys.
They were men. They were men at that age. Their bodies were full. They were men.
Yes, they had mustaches.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was an incredible thing that happened to me that I'm totally grateful for because it forced me into a light that I don't think I would have gravitated towards.
Yeah. Maybe
I would have. I don't know. But then that was like my life. I was a jock football player. I was a wrestler. And I loved it. And I still, Friday nights when I'm driving down the highway in Los Angeles, there's high schools all over this city. And I see those lights. Oh, I still get that feeling, It's like that small town Friday night lights nostalgia is just, it's in my bones. It's huge.
Yeah, I think we all feel that.
Yeah. And then as a wrestler, that was a different experience for me because wrestling is different from football. It's an individual / team sport. And wrestlers are kind of eccentric, oddball. They're fringe to sports, meaning like they're driven in weird ways. They're cutting weight. They're superstitious, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And I gravitate towards eccentric behavior. I am always interested in the person in the room that is, and I don't mean this in a mean way, the oddest or, the most opinionated in a good way or has some sort of weird obsession. That's just who I am. I just love, I love that. And
well, that's where the story is. The story is with the weirdo in the corner. The story is not with everybody else in line.
No, because it's always the weirdo on the outside looking in going, I'm going to do something different that becomes the norm that we all end up, right?
Yep.
He might be an evil genius Bond villain, but Jeff Bezos is the perfect example of like the nerdy guy in his garage who's like, I'm going to sell 40 different books online.
Right.
And people are like, whatever, I'm a .comer who's going to build a camping site and blah, 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 like whatever. Now he is.
Now he's Jeff Bezos.
He's Dr. Evil.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, sports was everything to me. But I remember graduating my senior year and I was asked to play in the East-West All-Star football game. And I was like, oh, this is it. I just remember that feeling. I'm playing with a bunch of different players in the NBL from different schools, and it didn't have that camaraderie that I was attached to. So I was like, I don't want to play sports anymore. Therefore, I realized I don't know what I want to do, and I don't know who I am. And I left. I moved to Santa Rosa. Mm-hmm. Why did I pick Santa Rosa? Because my friend went to Sonoma State, and I went up there to visit him, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I hear they filmed American Graffiti in this area. And
yeah, this is fun.
I just fell in love with that area. So I was like, I'm going to move to Santa Rosa. And I realized college was not for me. I dropped out. I started working at a shoe store.
Mm-hmm.
and,
Well,
and I was working at Kenny's shoe store, and that was like the first real job I ever had. And and I wore a suit, and I felt important.
Wow.
And I was doing like $4,000 a week in like, shoes and backpacks. And my boss, this is so stupid. My boss nicknamed me Hot Souls. He's like, "Hey, Hot Souls." And I'm like 18, going to the local Regal Beagle bar, whatever it is, hanging out with all the weird
the Santa Rosa people. Yeah.
Post frat boy chest bumpers, with red faces and high-fiving. And I'm like, this is my life, And then this guy, his name was Brad Woofer. He was like corporate guy. And Brad Woofer came down. He just hung in the store one day, and I didn't know why he was there. And then at the end of the night, he took me out. And he's like, "I want to give you your own store." And I was like, "Oh my God." So I call my brother Kip. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I got to think." And twice in my life, several times in my life, he has intervened. And he was like, "What?"
Wait, Mom has a book that says
yes, exactly.
Shoes, shit, and
shoes, shit, and sales. And I highlighted all the parts for you.
Dude, you do the opposite.
Yeah, he was going to Chico and had a career path, and he's like, "You got to think about this." And so I moved back home. I moved into my grandma's house, which was a bad idea. It was all in my one-man show. I won't go into detail. We'll cut to the chase.
I loved your one-man show. It was freaking awesome.
Thank you. So grandma,
Yeah.
I was Norman Bates, and she tried to stab me with a pair of scissors. And I moved back into my mom's basement. Now I've regressed to I'm doing great. And I remember sitting in my basement amongst, the remnants of our childhood stacked around a mattress in the corner. And I'm like, why didn't I keep the Kenny's shoe store job? Like, what?
What's wrong with managing a store?
Yeah, I could have been Al Bundy. So,
you could have.
So my brother comes home from college, and we go to a comedy club in San Jose. And my brother gets in line and shows him his ID, right? He gets in, and then he hands the ID behind its back to like whoever was friend was behind him. And then they passed that down the line to me. And then 10 minutes later, I showed the same ID and I got into the comedy club.
Perfect.
And we sat right in the front, and this comedian was on stage, and it sounds so corny, but I had this feeling to lean over to my brother, and I said, "Hey, I can do this." And my brother looks at me so serious and stern, and he goes, "I know." And it was that moment that I was like,
okay.
Because in high school, I stumbled into the theater department. I really gravitated towards theater and doing theater and performance. And so it was that moment of like, oh my God, wait a minute. And so I enrolled in Gav College and started in the theater department there. And there's an amazing instructor named Marilyn Abad who really took my wing. And I would write my own monologues and write my own plays and just get up in class like no fear. I don't know. I think it came from, going back to Doubleday sports of getting knocked around. Like once you go through that, once you get hit by 18 grown men for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. You can do anything.
I can stand up and like when I was 12 years old, my cat died, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's true when you think about stuff like that. And I do think sports and other things, but sports is one of those things that gives you that, well, shit, I blew my knee out at one point, or I face planted somewhere. This is not painful. This is not.
No.
Yeah.
And look, getting up in front of people is terrifying for a lot of people. Yes. I think probably for the majority of people.
Yes. I think it's the number one fear is public speaking.
Let me chat GPT that real quick. But I was like, oh, I love to be up in front of people So I started to act and write, and then stumbled into this woman, Marilyn Abad, one night said, hey, at El Teatro Campesino, they're doing these things called comedy cabaret nights, and you write funny little monologues and stories. Why don't you go over there and audition? And I drove my little Mazda truck over there and went in, and what was funny is the guys that met me for me to audition, when I walked in, they're like, oh, wait, you're not Kip. I thought it was Kip Ward.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, shoot. And I remember this guy, Joseph Velasco, was like, Kip Ward, the quarterback's going to come audition. Like, I got to see this joke. Right? But that's what I love. When I go to Hollister, I am Kip Ward's brother for eternity. A few years back, I'm dropping one of Kip's boys off, who I was up north, and when my mom was dying, and one of the boys wasn't feeling well and slept in, and I said, hey, I'll drive him to school. Mm-hmm. So I drove him to school late, and I go in and I check him in, and as I'm walking in the parking lot, this guy rolls down the window and goes, hey, Kip. And I just looked at him and I go, yeah. And he goes, the XL9 form for the county board, blah, blah, blah. I sent it to you in an email, and I go, okay. I said, what's the subject line? And he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, awesome. Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
So this is how normal it is in my life in Hollister. I call my brother, Superintendent Ward, and I'm like, hey, blah, 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 blah. The subject line is mine. He's like, okay, thanks. Cool. And he hangs up. Like, So I'm always known as Kip Ward's little brother.
Yeah. You might have been in some major motion pictures, but in Hollister, you will never, ever reach the heights that your brother. Yeah. He's a legend at the high school.
He was, yeah. I mean, he was the Fonz. I was more like Ralph Mouth.
Yeah.
Right? Right. And I remember Friday nights, his senior year, he would be like, I'm going to take a nap before the game. Kip's taking a nap, right? Pre-game, like, got to keep the house quiet. And Mel Silvera and Donnie Marcus and all these dads, Kenny Dazzle, like, they would come over to our house just to talk to Kip a little bit pre-game while he's sitting at our rinky-dink little card table in the kitchen. You know, that was, I think, in a way, it's why I became so comfortable around celebrity. Because that's what it was like.
You grew up with one. Yeah.
I grew up with a local celebrity.
That's right.
And it was very,
he was like Tom Cruise, all the right moves. You know, he was like the Tom Cruise of Hollister. So I'm sure he's going to love us talking about this.
Oh, man. I know, because that's the thing. Was my brother cocky? In ways he was, right? And that's what it takes, that level of an athlete, to be like, we're down by 11 points. There's 30 seconds left on the clock, whatever. We're going to win, right? You have to have that weird competitive thing in your mind and not fall apart. That's what he has. But he's also a very humble guy.
Yeah. In high school, maybe. But like now, I would never say he was cocky. I would never describe him that way at all. And he's got a great sense of humor, and like he gets it. And so that's what makes it great. He gets everything that you're saying. He would just be laughing about it.
Yes. He loves to laugh. That's what I love. We both love to laugh at ourselves. And I'm so grateful that we're so close. He's my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, the guy that always is like, no, you can do this. And I'll say like, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And he'll write and text back, of course it did. Yeah. Without him, I would have been a different human being, because he was the closest thing in my life that was like a father figure. Right. And it wasn't always easy. It was violent between us. We became very close the day that I pinned him on the floor in our living room. When I was 17, he was 19. Came home from college, and he was like, who ate the Foster Farms ham? Right? You know, now I'm in theater, and I've got some improv skill under my belt. And I'm like, who ate the Foster Farm ham? Right? And I'm mocking him. And then I was like, well, let's talk about the Foster Farm ham. Did you pay for it, or did Mom pay for it? And so we get into a fight. And it's, a classic Ward boy fight where it's like, it's all over the house. We're slamming
Oh
in.
my God.
And I throw him on his back and I pin him and he taps out. He jumps up. He goes into the bathroom. He comes back with his slick back hair, leans forward with his hand extended, shakes my hand and goes, "We're good." And it was like a Lord of the Flies moment. We still got into it. Like there was still,
Sure, of course.
there were times, but there was a different level of respect that.
Let's go back to Teatro because I love Teatro Campesino. I did a field trip with some of my students from a school in Salinas, and we saw the fucking greatest performance. It was so phenomenal, and they just floor me. Everything I've ever seen there is
Mind-blowing.
amazing. Yeah, it is. It's mind-blowing, and you could drive right by it, not know what it is, and it is the treasure of this area.
And it's still, to so many people, they do not understand the cultural relevancy. This is like in my world, right? In my world as a writer, producer, as a performer in Los Angeles, like Luis Valdez from San Juan Bautista, what the play Zoot Suit did for American theater, like transformed America, the possibilities of American theater. Royal Shakespeare Academy traveled to the United States to study not only the story, but also the way that Luis presents narrative on stage, the way that he breaks the fourth wall and the way that he forces you to communicate with the audience. And I was so fucking lucky, Carla, that I got in there and I knew some of the kids that I went to school with, and Luis just accepts me with open arms. I still think of him, not every day, but often. I'm developing a project for a studio, and I was just at a wall. I hit a wall, and I'm alone here in my basement, and like Luis's voice in my mind. Literally, I could hear him clear as day going, "Open another door. Open another door. Try opening another door, Mijo. Open another door." Right. And it's like, he's just, he's a total
I know.
genius.
I took a student, I think he was 19 or 20, an immigrant from Mexico. Super this kid, just a phenomenal artist. He just could do anything. And we read Bandito in class, which is so freaking good.
Amazing.
And he was really interested. So I gave him some more books. Anyway, there was a performance. So Angela and I took him, and we're in the lobby, and freaking Luis Valdez is standing there. And it was like I was going to meet Brad Pitt or something. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything. And I'm telling the student, like, there he is. There he is. I can't believe it. He's here. And he got him to sign his playbill. I'll never forget that day because
he truly, truly, truly has a presence.
Yes.
And I put his presence up there. I've been fortunate enough to, I met Bob Hope. I met Muhammad Ali, Robert De Niro. I met some people that have unbelievable, like real presence. I was a valet and I parked Brad Pitt's car when he got out of his car. I'm like, oh, okay. This is what that thing is.
Wow.
Right. And Luis, listen, I've known him for years. I still get nervous when I talk to him. I still get nervous. The last time I did the second run of my one-man show there in 2007, he came when I did it in 2003, and then he came again in 2007, and it was a lot better, I think. And I think the first run of it there was a little more raw. And I was figuring out what it was, and I'd done it in Los Angeles for years, and I was perfecting it and blah, blah, blah. And then in 2007, I'd gone to the Aspen Comedy Festival, and I came back and I did the show again. And I hate to sound like patting myself on the back or like a humble bragger here, but pinnacle moment in my life and career is he came backstage immediately when the show was over, and he put hands on my shoulders and said, "You are welcome to perform on my stage anytime."
Oh.
And I was like, wow.
Yay.
little Kirk coming to the, like, hey, I'm coming to Teatro Campesino. And then like to have somebody of his caliber accept me into that. Those are the moments that I hold on to and I live with, that push me forward. So yeah, we could do an entire.
We could. I love him. I love him. Teaching his plays to, especially the demographic that I work with, is such a gift, because so many of those kids don't understand where Pachuco came from. They don't understand the evolution of that archetype, right? They don't understand that. And to show them that and to say, you can freaking go visit the theater where this was born. It's 20 miles down the road.
What's beautiful about it is a kid, a young boy or a young girl gets to see themselves, their color, their skin,
their language,
their stories. That's my favorite thing about what I do as a storyteller. I am more interested in why I want to tell someone else's story, and to be the more niche, the more nuanced. I'm developing something right now about Jakarta, and I've set it up at a studio, and I'm very honest with the Indonesian actor that is attached to this, where I'm like, I'm a white dude from a small town.
Right.
So here's what I'm trying to do, but you tell me what I'm doing wrong. And we've had these amazing conversations about polygamy and heritage and politics and poverty and pride and being a Muslim and what that means and the stigma of that. So that's just so interesting to me. But to pivot back, Teatro Campesino was where I went, this is what I'm going to do in my life.
So that's where you made that decision. I want to act. I want to.
Yeah, I want to act. I want to write. I want to make my own stuff, because that's what it was about. I formed a comedy troupe there called the Altar Boys with a couple of guys I went to high school, and a girl, an amazing female performer named Susie Sanford from Gilroy. And we had a comedy troupe for like 2 years there out of high school. And it was called the Altar Boys, ALTER, like we're altar. Just like Altar Boys, because 3 of us are altar boys, but it was like we're altering the perception of comedic reality. Right? But what was cool was these guys grew up in that theater, and so they understood theme, right? They understood tone. They understood nuance. And I was just a goofball Chris Farley that would want to run at the wall with my hair on fire,
Well, you were learning it from step one.
Yes. And that's where it really formed for me. And prior to that, when I was in high school and I hung around Teatro Campesino a couple of times, there was this comedy troupe called Culture Clash that would come and perform at the theater, and I didn't know I was a culture club. But what is this with Boy George? And so one night, the late Seth Millwood, who was a huge influence in my life, who just passed away, he took me to see this comedy troupe called Culture Clash, and the lights come up, and there's these 3 guys on stage. And it's like Saturday Night Live type level sketches and impersonations and dramatic pieces. And one guy's rapping, the other guy's got an acoustic guitar, and he's walking through the audience making fun of everybody. They're taking a movie like La Bamba, and they did, La Bamba Part 2, Richie Valens is back from the dead, right?
Right.
And my fucking mind exploded. And I became a fanboy to those guys. To make a long story short, I moved to San Francisco, and I was literally living in a tool shed in the Mission District.
Oh, gosh.
In a 7x4 room, trying to write plays during the day and get them produced at local theaters. And I was broke, and beyond broke, but I was loving it, and I was meeting incredible artists and poets and writers, and then those guys, Culture Clash, are now in LA having success. And one of them called me and said, "Hey, do you want to come to LA and do a play with us?" And I go, "When?" Like, Friday. And I go, "Totally." they're like, do you have a place to stay? And I go, yep. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a place to stay.
Right.
And this guy, Richard Montoya, says to me, hey, do you think you could bring us 5 bales of hay for the set? And I'm like, yep.
No problem.
I knock on my mom's door, right?
I was going to say, that shouldn't be hard to get.
No.
In Hollister.
My mom answers the door. I'm like, hey, I got to grab some things. She goes, what are you doing home, honey? I go, I'm moving to Los Angeles.
God.
And she's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to be in this play. She goes, well, where are you going to live? I go, I don't know. She goes, how much money do you have? And I said, none. But this is what I love about my mom. She like takes a slow drag off her Pall Mall. Right? She rolls into the house, opens up her wallet, gives me like $68. And then I drove up to Donnie Marcus's ranch, knocked on his door.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need 5 bales of hay. Oh, sure. Loaded me up.
Oh my God.
All night I pulled into Hollywood with 5 bales of hay. And I remember I drove into like a side street in Hollywood, and it was like 5 a.m.
Oh.
And I woke up and there was traffic everywhere. And this is how small town minded I was. I was like, oh, there must be a parade. Right? Because in Hollister, there was always traffic. We had a parade. I mean, literally, I had hay in my hair still. And so I go to this theater and I meet the guys and we unload the hay. And then it's like we start workshopping the play. And then I leave and I'm like, well, I'm going to sleep in my car tonight. Right? I slept in my car, and the next night I slept in the car, and the next night I slept in my car. And I was
God.
using the bathroom at Sizzler on Hollywood Boulevard. And one of the guys in the play is like, dude, you got some BO, bro. And so they realized I didn't have a place to stay, and they let me sleep on their couch. I think they were a little bit like, you lied to us kind of thing. Like there was a little bit. But if it was not for those 3 guys who brought me to LA, who put me in a show, not only was the show a hit, Fox came in and bought the show as a sketch comedy show on Fox.
Oh, nice.
We did 30 episodes. I got hired as a like an intern writer, the lowest level. And again, so lucky. I'm working with Steve Higgins, and I shared an office. He was the head writer of SNL. And he was Jimmy Fallon's sidekick for years. I shared an office with him, who was like a brilliant comedic mind who taught me how to write sketch. And for context, what 1993 in Hollywood looked like, Steve Higgins and I shared an office. You would have a stack of yellow notebooks and pens. Mm-hmm. You would write out your sketch longhand. You'd tear off the pages, walk down the hallway, and there was a woman named Joni who had one computer. She would type up your sketch, and literally that was the kind of the ecosystem of our office. And then at the end of each week, Joni would come to your office and go, do you have any topics? And I'd go, yeah, I said, I have some topics, and I'd write like different topics. She would go to the library. She was also our internet, right? Library, research topics, and come back like, oh, I found this article on Che Guevara that might be interesting. I found this article. And then we would all sit around with our stacks of paper.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it was just a different time. There were no cell phones. There was nothing. Trying to make a sketch comedy show, you had to read the newspaper every day. I found myself going to the bookstore and hanging around with people that were actually educated and intelligent.
Yeah, to get information back in the day, you had to work at it. It was a job to research stuff.
Right. You had to go sit at the microfiche machine and be like,
yes. Yeah. Yeah. And how do you get a copy of that shit? It's so impossible.
I know. After the Culture Class show ended after 30 episodes, so lucky I got into the Actors Gang Theater, and the Actors Gang Theater in Los Angeles is one of the most prestigious theaters. Tim Robbins is still the artistic director. And again, I met, the most unbelievable group of people that wrote and created and produced and performed their own plays. and adapted classics. And it was like being in a punk rock band. It was about taking a piece of material, a historical piece of material, be it a published play or a concept like dreams or police brutality, and ripping that up and then workshopping it on stage through the lens of commedia dell'arte and creating a piece. And I did that for 10 years of my life. And then coming out of that, I'm older. A lot of my friends I grew up with are having kids.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's a different life. It's a completely different life.
yeah, and so I got married at 32, and still was like working and writing and performing, and sold my first project to Disney as a writer in 1999. And then it got to this place where, we're having this discussion that artists that live in kind of the make-believe ether of life like myself, hey, I want to have kids.
Yeah.
And I remember it stopped me in my tracks when I was like, it's time to now think about this next chapter of my life. And, I have the most supportive, incredible wife, biggest fan, go play make-believe in your office. Put your little note cards on the wall during the day. Use the alphabet to tell a story, But there was a great moment, a pivotal moment where I'm 39, my wife is pregnant. Go to this audition, and there's a guy I'll never forget in a wrinkled suit, unshaven, with this wild look in his eye, and his hand is on a stroller, and the baby is crying, right? And he's reading his script and rocking the baby simultaneously, and I'm like, that's going to be me, right? And I watched the guy scan the room, and he locks in on me, and he calls me over, and he says, quote, "Will you hold my baby while I audition?"
Oh, gosh.
He takes out the baby, hands me the baby.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm now patting the baby's back on my shoulder and pacing around in a circle. He comes out, thanks, man, grabs the baby, and then it was like pig pen from the Peanuts, just this swirl of chaos. And I'm left in the dust, and I'm like, I don't want to bring my baby. Like, I could have run out the door with the baby.
I know. Yeah,
right?
His wife did not know that shit was going on. Where was the wife? Because the wife was probably working at, some office thinking that her husband is home with the baby.
Yeah.
And no.
Yeah, and it was a gear shift for me of like, okay, I am going to get incredibly serious, and I want to build a career as a writer and a producer. And if acting comes along, great. But it was, and
you needed more control over what was happening rather than it was at the whim of somebody that wanted to hire you.
Right. And it was also, I had to look at my life and go, okay, well, I'm 39 and I'm not at where I want to be. And I'm not at the level of like a lot of my friends and my circles. It was a tough decision, but instead of being bitter about it, I'm like, it's all the same. I'm still connected to something in my life that I'm passionate about. And I love to create, and I love to write. I've always loved to write. And when I was a kid, I didn't. If somebody said, hey, you're going to be a writer one day, I'm like, don't I need to know how to spell for that? Don't I need to understand?
You don't.
Don't I need to understand?
Not anymore.
I need to understand the English language?
Not anymore.
Don't I have to have a comprehension of English 1A?
But you know what's interesting? I'm 100% practical, and I have my wild moments, but I've always been super practical. And I married someone who's very practical. So Angelo, my husband, wanted to be a professional baseball player. And at 17, his dad said, put that fucking glove down and get your ass to work. And you're going to learn the concrete business,
right?
Whether you like it or not. And they basically dictated, like, you're doing this. And so for me, too, like, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a creative writer. I wanted to write books. I wanted to be a poet, blah, blah, blah. I get to college and they're like, you got to pick something that's practical, girl. Like, you're not going to make a living doing that. So I go into teaching, which is fine. I loved it. but I've always been super practical. But I have 2 artists for kids. I have one kid that he can only be involved in music. He can work at a shoe store if he really had to, but guess what? He's going to be fucking miserable, and he's probably going to get fired because he's going to tell people those look awful on you, or you don't want those shoes, or whatever. Yeah. The music playing in the store is going to drive him so crazy he'll have to quit. And so I so admire people that there's some people that can't do the practical thing. They absolutely can't. And you're one of the few people that I know that figured his way how to be successful, how to have a family, how to keep food on your table, and yet you're doing something artistic and enjoying it. I just so admire that in Ryan. Ryan doesn't need new clothes. He doesn't need new anything. He doesn't need a car that even runs sometimes. Like, as long as he's doing music, he's happy. And I love that.
If Ryan came to my house in Los Angeles and came into my basement office, is the dorm room I never had. I mean, it is like Jack White's poster duct taped up to the wall. Right? It's just, it is. And it's a total Arrested Development cave.
Yeah.
And I, like Ryan, I don't buy clothes. I don't buy shampoo.
Right.
I don't buy like a box. My wife comes home the other day with a shoe box, and I open it up and I go, "Oh, awesome!" And I put them on.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I've ever wanted, and I've accomplished that. My wife and I have accomplished it. The only material possession I wanted was a fairly big house with a swimming pool and all that kind of stuff for my children. And I just got my first brand new car last year. But I always have had the hand-me-down or the older one. The only thing I buy is vinyl records, and I rarely buy them, and I buy them used. I go to the library still. Like, I do have a poverty mentality, and also that's not healthy at times, because then I'll get a massive chunk of money and I'll be like, "Hey, you know what we should do?" And my wife has to be like, "Yeah, you know what we should do? We should budget that."
Exactly.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I am a very responsible father and husband and all that.
Of course.
I live in a bit of a make-believe space that I try to nurture because I have to.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, Ryan doesn't have a choice. This is not. This is who he is, and this is who you are. And had you tried to manage a Kinney shoe store in Santa Rosa, I mean, not that you probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, I would have.
Yes, you would have. I don't know. Who knows what you would have done, but you couldn't do that. And I just admire that, because the world needs that. When we tell little kids, go after your dream, and then when they're 18, we tell them, well, you better freaking go manage that Kinney shoe store, because how else are you going to live? You can't go be a cowboy, or whatever their dream was.
I know. My sister Kim's oldest daughter, Stephanie, has a son named Rory. So I'm a great uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And Rory Gibson, years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, he called me. Going to college. Uncle, I want to drop out. I want to be an actor. His father, Gary Gibson, who is from the Gibsons from Hollister. Gary played for the 49ers for a while. He was a professional kickboxer. He passed away from cancer, but he was an amazing guy. And I was really intervening in his life at the time, trying to help little Rory because there was some divorce and blah, blah, blah. So I was very close. And Rory was like my son, my nephew Curtis, and my nephew Skylar. And they would all come to LA and stay with me. And they were my practice kids. Like, that's where I learned how to be a dad. I was like, oh, you have to make them food in the evening.
Right. Don't offer them cigarettes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Hide the cocaine. No.
Right.
Anyways, he called me and he said, want to be an actor. And so I give him this speech that was through the lens of his father. And I was echoing his father's worries. My nephew said to me two things. are you talking to my dad?
Oh.
And I go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, because this doesn't sound like you, Uncle. And I went, oh my God, what am I doing? Right. And I said, you're right. And I copped to it. Now he's one of the stars of General Hospital.
No way.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And you should have him on your podcast. He's an amazing human being.
Oh my gosh.
He's freakishly handsome. Like he looks like young Marlon Brando. And he's 10 times the natural actor that I am. I mean, he just came to Hollywood, worked hard. He was like, should I be on this show or I don't know. And I was, I said, well, look, from my point of view as somebody that's older and has been in show business for 3 decades, you might have wanted to be in Martin Scorsese movies, but someone's offering you a contract potentially for the next 10 years, 15 years of your life that is going to give your children, but I've been a hypocrite too, and what's interesting is every night my kids go to bed, I always say, sleep well, dream big.
Yeah.
Sleep well, dream big.
Thank you for joining me on today's adventure. Thanks to Amy Clifford for remembering her first loves and admitting to her dorky obsessions. And a huge thank you to Kirk Ward for sharing his story and sense of humor with me and my listeners. In next week's episode, part 2 of Hollister to Hollywood, Kirk describes the changes in the industry and his need to adapt with them. Thank you for listening to Gen X TrustFall. If you liked this episode or have a suggestion for a potential guest, please check out our website at genxtrustfall.com. Gen X TrustFall is produced by me and the recording master, Ryan Loomis, at Double Banger Studio. Music by Ryan and Sam. Website and advisory by Amy Clifford.